Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. So, Maria Butina. Butina. I learned that it's not Butina, it's Butina is how you pronounce it. So, she was in court yesterday, Wednesday. It was pretty dramatic, I think. There's so much to this. I'm going to try to do this in one shot, but I've been following it. I have quite. It's a very interesting story. The long and short of it is she was, she wasn't allowed out on bail or anything like that, and she's going to remain in prison until her trial. But I don't know when her trial is, and I think I've read maybe 50 reports on this. Maybe not quite that many, but many. And I saw that I think her next court date is the 24th, but I don't know what that would be. So she's being charged with, and the thing is, she's a flight risk. I mean, I was listening to this. There's a ton. That's why I'm just like, my brain is swimming. This guy actually gives a pretty good account of how, if she was released in any way right now, she could go into a diplomatic building, a Russian or even just into a vehicle with Russian diplomats, and because of immunity, they wouldn't have to return her, and she'd be gone. So that's why she's being held, and not allowed out on bail. She was in court in an orange jumpsuit. I don't think in handcuffs, but and actually she had requested that not be the case. That she'd be allowed to wear her street clothes. I don't know why she would do that, and that was denied. There's so many different interesting wrinkles to this, In the court hearing, it was revealed, that the Justice Department investigation showed she had traded sex or offered sex in exchange for a job at a special interest group in Washington, D.C. What special interest group that is, we don't know, and who she had made that offer to, we don't know. And I assume it was turned down. I don't know. She was living with, or a boyfriend with, somebody named Paul Erickson, who is still a friend on her Facebook. Paul Erickson, who is a GOP operative, but he himself has a lot of stuff going on in his own life. He's being, I think, facing several fraud charges in South Dakota. He has homes in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and in Washington, D.C. In this Daily Beast article, they describe him, or somebody describes them to whoever's reporting this, as like a catch me if you can kind of sort of fraudster who's just always slipping away from the previous person he conned. And one of the persons who's actually, who he claims he defrauded was Brent Bozell, who's the media research organization. He's a regular on Fox. No, I haven't seen him recently, but you'd know him with the big beard. He's so. And it's interesting that in one of these accounts here, it seems as though Maria Butina was actually offering assistance to the U.S. attorneys in South Dakota in their pursuit of him. That's mentioned as well. It's all quite a bit. One of the things, just even nailing down what exactly is she charged with. She's facing 2 felony charges is difficult. And the 2, I found it in a CNN article where it says, it's for conspiracy, and that's all it says. Conspiracy and, failing to register as a foreign agent. Actually, over here it says conspiracy and acting as a foreign agent. So, because many foreign nationals are in this country and their intention is to, interact with, influence the political process to some extent for their own country's purposes, but they have to register with the Justice Department, and that's actually illegal. Okay, so her failure was, I'm not defending her, I'm just telling you what the charges are. Her failure was to actually register as that. And then the other charge is conspiracy. Conspiracy, that's pretty broad. Even in this article here where I showed this guy, and it says, what is she charged with? They don't really tell you exactly. They go into this very long, length. Prosecutors say Butina engaged in a year-long campaign as a covert agent for the Kremlin in an attempt to advance the interests of her home country. The defendant's covert influence campaign involved substantial planning, international coordination, and preparation, prosecutors argued. My computer is overheating because I have so many things open at once. The plan for Butina also required, and she demonstrated a willingness to deceit in a visa application to move to the United States and bring the plan to fruition. Butina is pleading not guilty, citing FBI surveillance conducted during the past week. Prosecutors said Butina had access to thousands of dollars and an intention to move money out of the United States. Because that's what I thought maybe one of the other charges was some kind of, money laundering thing, but it doesn't seem to be so, according to the CNN's conspiracy and failing to register as a foreign agent. Pretty long description for that. Sorry. So, and she, right before she was arrested, apparently she was making preparations to, I don't know if it was to leave the country or to move or what. I mean, I saw one report that suggested she was looking to move to South Dakota with this guy Erickson, Paul Erickson, the GOP operative, or to just leave the country altogether. She had hired a U-Haul. Her lease in July was going to be ending, and so there was that as well. Right, so let me continue, and this is an ABC report. Everybody's reporting on this by now.
President Obama. Big problem. The FBI alleges that Butina came to the U.S. under the direction of an unnamed Russian official, identified by sources as Alexander Torshin, a former member of Russian parliament and one of Putin's closest allies. Under U.S. law, foreign nationals and others who are actively seeking to influence U.S. policy on behalf of another country must register with the Justice Department. Butina is denying the charges, which were...
She didn't. That's the charge. So if she had just registered with the Justice Department, I assume so the charges are not espionage, which is a very serious crime. It's actually, I think, possibly punishable by death, but they're not espionage at this stage. So, and that first clip is from FreedomFest, where she attended an event. I think it's in 2015 in Las Vegas, where Trump was just beginning his campaign and was taking questions from everybody in the audience and stuff like that. It was actually very good, and you could see that this was the beginning of Trump's political career, and that you could see how it was big. I was really impressed to watch Trump in this 2015 Freedom Fest. But she's in the audience. She actually gives him a question about Russia and the sanctions against Russia and stuff like that. And I think one of the objectives, if she is whatever, basically working on behalf of the Kremlin, is to get yourself photographed with American officials, and politicians, and that's sort of compromising and embarrassing. I think that's just golden for back home if that's what the objective is. But in any event, so I can play these for you just quickly, but it's.
In Russia, I'm the founder and now I'm the board member of the Right to Bear Arms. This is an all-Russian public organization. We promote gun rights. I made this trip because I think that freedom is like.
So, I've played these in my previous video. I made a video about this before.
It's an amazing thing. You look at Mexico. Yes, ma'am.
I'm visiting from Russia. So my question.
Good friend of Obama, Putin. He likes Obama a lot. Go ahead.
My question will be about foreign politics.
Okay.
If you would be elected as a president, what will be your foreign politics, especially even in the relationships with my country? Do you want to continue the politics of sanctions that are damaging of both economy, or you have any other ideas?
Okay.
So, this is sort of an old story. That's why the previous video I made and before people were really talking about this didn't get a lot of views, because even before that she was in the news. Her house was raided in April, in the presence of her attorneys, actually, and she's spoken with behind closed doors with some Senate Intelligence Committee. She was actually summoned or asked to speak and and provide some testimony. I don't know if that was under oath or what. I'm not exactly sure how her name comes up. I mean, her history here goes back a couple of years. Several years. I know this goes back to 2013 and maybe beyond. She was she was a student at an American university, and that's what she's claiming. And I think the Russian representatives that are speaking on her behalf, are saying she's just a student and that she's not what they're claiming she is. But in the trial, there were several in court yesterday, there were several things that were revealed. The thing that made the headlines is the fact that she was offering sex in exchange for a job at a special interest group. And what also, and this is her attorney after court yesterday. I'll play that for you in a second. This Reuters article probably provided the most material, the most detail, good information. I had to find it, go and look for it, about what was uncovered in the trial and talked about this handwritten note, of how to accept a job. But I think it was addressed to, I don't know, I'll read it from here. It's not exactly. So prosecutors have not charged the agent they identified as Maria Butina with espionage, but she said she had been in contact with Russian intelligence operatives and kept contact information for several Russian agents. During a preliminary hearing in the U.S. District Court in the District of Columbia, the lead prosecutor in the case showed a photo of Butina in Washington restaurant meeting with someone who they believe is a Russian intelligence agency agent. So that was one thing that was presented in court yesterday. My computer's heating up again. A photo of her in a restaurant, meeting with somebody they believe to be a Russian agent. The 29-year-old former American university student wore an orange prison jumpsuit in court and showed no emotion as her lawyer entered a not guilty plea. Butina's next court appearance was scheduled for July 24th, so that's 5 days from now. The government also displayed a copy of a handwritten note uncovered by the FBI at Butina's apartment asking how to respond to an employment offer from a Russian intelligence agency, as well as a photo of her standing in front of the U.S. Capitol on the day Donald Trump was sworn in as president 18 months ago. That almost seems like that's the Justice Department trying to make this into something. It's a picture of her standing in front of the Capitol on the day that Donald Trump, how is that in any way incriminating? And but it's the day that Trump was, sworn in. So that's, I think you can make your own, draw your own inferences there. So we do not believe she was here just to attend American University. Eric Michael Kennerson, that's the lead prosecutor for the Justice Department on this. Butina was engaged in a covert influence campaign. Let me continue. Some of the going back to 2013. It says Butina, 29, had mysterious presence in conservative circles over the past several years. She co-founded the Russian gun rights group Right to Bear Arms, bear like the Russian bear, with Alexander Torshin, one of Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest allies, and then, according to prosecutors, used those seemingly shared interests to cultivate ties to high-ranking NRA officials and conservative politicians in the United States. So that's Torshin right there, and he is a former senator in Russia. I believe he's in Russia right now, and the deputy of some central bank, or the central bank in Russia. So Butina and Torshin were frequent attendees at the annual NRA conventions, and former NRA President David Keene returned the favor in 2013. Butina introduced Keene at the Right to Bear Arms annual conference in Moscow. And in 2015, she hosted a delegation of NRA board members, including Keene, in Moscow. The relationship with Keene, who has not responded to requests for comments, appears to have positioned her to get close to other powerful people, including the president at the FreedomFest, and I played you that before, in 2015 in Las Vegas in July. Okay, so, these things, some of these things, you just, it's hard to exactly characterize them the way they're being characterized. Even the trading or offering sex in exchange for a job at a special interest, in Washington, D.C., This is not an exclusive practice of whatever. I guess #MeToo doesn't work for her, So sorry to be, but I'm just saying, these are some of the things that just, everyday life, and because Russia is a long-time, adversary of the United States, it's just much more delicate whenever those things are with somebody of Russian national, I don't know. So there's many different pictures of her on her Facebook page, many posing with weapons. So they compared her to another Russian operative who, I forget, Chapman, I think is her name, who was redhead, and she actually has a resemblance to Butina. But there's many pictures here of her with weapons because she was a gun rights advocate. I know I was thinking of. I saw on Fox, Martha MacCallum had a guest on who was a former KGB officer who had defected and is now an American citizen. He was talking and he was saying that he thought she was an amateur, even though she had gotten a lot farther than he did in terms of. But he was saying that it's classic to basically adopt the same belief systems of those who you want to penetrate, their ideological beliefs and adopt those similar beliefs so that, you have something in common and you grow trust between those people, meaning the right to bear arms. But I don't, the right to bear arms is universal. And people love guns all over the world. That's not, I'm just saying that that's what he was saying as a way to penetrate, an American institution, whether it's the NRA or other political circles, to basically adopt the same belief system so that you have, commonality. So, but like I was saying, there's lots of interesting pictures of her with guns, definitely. I am the gun lobby. The pictures of her with guns is what shows up everywhere in the media, And it had said that she sort of was this other individual, Paul Erickson. She was had communicated to somebody else. I don't know if an FBI agent or what, that she was only with him and she was tired of being with him, sexually or whatever to get his favor, and that she was growing real tired of having to do it or something like that. No red hair there. Whoa, dude. She's not a natural redhead. Huh. I don't know, man. I'm serious. I think, wow. That's the first I learned that. Interesting. Dude. Unreal. All right. The computer is so slow. Come on. First reported here, man. I never heard that, that she wasn't a real redhead. Not that that's huge or anything, but whatever. Maybe it was all the way up at the top. Here is the picture with Scott Walker. It's April 2015, so this is before the July event in Las Vegas, FreedomFest, where she asked Trump a question. But here she is pictured with, I think he's launching his presidential campaign at this event in Wisconsin. One of the possible future nominees for the post of U.S. president for the Republican Party, Scott Walker, speaks in Russian. I don't know if Scott Walker actually speaks Russian or what. That's a translation there that was in Russian before. I want to wrap this up soon, though. And there's some interesting pieces over here at TPM. I don't know what this is. Talking Points memo. Actually, this is a conservative outlet, And I think. So he recounted an alleged December 2014 text exchange Butina had with whom Karenson described as a wealthy Russian businessman. Karenson is the attorney, the prosecutor, lead prosecutor in the Justice Department prosecuting her. The businessman told Butina that he wanted her to work in the United States, according to the prosecutor, not go on a tourist trip, in quotes. He described an alleged notes found on a thumb drive obtained at U.S. Persons 1 residence under a folder titled Maria Butina that referenced laying a groundwork, according to Karenson, to influencing high-level politicians. U.S. Persons 1 is Paul Erickson, according to several reports. So, and this article actually has her attorney, Driscoll is his name, who's representing Maria Butina, and this is him speaking with press after yesterday's court. play a little bit of that.
While we respect the court, we strongly disagree that there were no conditions of release short of incarceration to detain an innocent student before trial. She's been aware of a criminal investigation into her conduct for months, made no attempt to flee, nor has the government, which has had her under surveillance the entire time, alleged that she has. We remain confident she'll prevail in this case. She's not an agent of the Russian government, the Russian Federation. She's innocent of the charges brought against her. Most importantly, she's a young student seeking to make a way in America.
All right, so I think that's pretty much the end of this video. And thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below, and I will see you in the next video. Later, man.